We'll see what's going to go down in game 2 of Wednesday Night StarCraft. So far, Hawk has taken or dealt the first blow to VV Gaming with a victory over Rocker, and will be up to Hasu to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, I think Lennox showed us all the counters, one base and two base to the Forge Fast Expand for Protoss at the last MLG where he decimated Naniwa, and Naniwa just kept trying to Forge Fast Expand game after game after game, and Lennox came with two base Roach, one base Roach, Hatchery, Cancel, Roach, and all sorts of different builds to really take advantage. But I imagine on this map, probably not going to see too much all-in counter to that Forge Fast Expand. I imagine that Hawk just going to allow that to happen and maybe try to tech up a little bit earlier. Mutas can be good on this map, or maybe try to take a quick third himself.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to be happening. Shakura's Plateau, a lot of mineral patches, a lot of ways for a Zerg to try to take a third base or even a fourth base without being too out of the way, as we now see Hasu spawning as the green Protoss player on the bottom right-hand side and Hawk spawning as the red Zerg on the bottom left-hand side. Apparently just a tribute back to Christmas with these red and green colors.
I'm sure everybody enjoyed the holidays and their time off from work and seeing family, so maybe these players wanted to recreate that magic or that time a little bit. And we do see that Hasu is sending down that 8th probe down to create that pylon. That's decent timing there. One thing you did mention as a counter is Nidus play on this map to Forge Fast Expand, and that can be pretty good because of how wide open the main is for both players. So you can sort of sneak a Nidus Worm in there, and the Protoss player really can't have decent coverage with pylons yet. So if you're able to get that up, a ton of Lings in the base can wreck the Protoss's day. And another style I like for Zerg here is to go for a fast 3 base and very low tech. You go for late gas, and you go for sort of a, forget the Korean player that does it, but they use a lot of speed links and a lot of roaches to defend against any sort of timing attack. And it can be pretty good because of how wide open the center of the map is.
Yeah, most definitely. Right now, we're getting a little bit of technical difficulties. Hopefully, the game does get underway and the lag won't spike back up during the actual portion of the game. As we now see Hasu quickly scouts out the top left-hand side of the map, realizes that his opponent has not spawned there, and now going to make his way to the south.
And again, Hawk goes for that 12 pool, which is an interesting timing. A lot of times we see that 14 pool, sometimes a 10 pool, but right in between with that 12 pool, I'd be interested to know what sort of timings he is interested in encountering with that little bit sort of middle of the road pool, that 12. Maybe he gets out his Lings a little bit earlier and he's able to put some pressure on the Forge Fast Expand. Maybe we sometimes see 4 Lings snuck into the Protoss base, and they can be really annoying, picking off a probe or two even.
Yeah, most definitely. As we now see, a pylon is warping in at the natural expansion by Hasu. And what Hasu can do, he does have the option to actually place down and do a pylon, a semi-pylon block. Even though there is a supply depot here, he can get perhaps one photon cannon. And if he gets one photon cannon, those Zerglings would most likely take a lot of damage and perhaps not even get that much harassment. And as we now see Hawk taking a look inside the base, pretty much knows that there is a Forge fast expansion, but we still don't see a Nexus at this stage. Hasu opting to go for a cannon first, playing it rather safe, knowing that his opponent doesn't yet have a hatchery since his pylon is still sitting right there.
And now Hasu going for a gas. This is very, very strange. Doesn't even have a gateway yet, so this could be some sort of cheese. The Overlord has made its way to the natural of Hasu, so Hawk is not going to scout this gas, and I'll be interested to see what sort of build Hasu goes for here.
Yeah, most definitely. As Hasu now warps in that Nexus, Hawk is going to see that Nexus come in. The Zerglings may try to make their way in. The Zerglings right now looking for that last probe and perhaps thinking that it has gone to a third base, as we now see Hawk move in, and Hawk may be trying to double expand. If he does a double expansion well before the 5-minute mark, yes, he is going to double expand right here, and now Hawk already up on bases at the 4-minute 30-second point, as the one probe hiding in plain sight, not in the corners, all the Zerglings running around and finally catching sight of that probe, as that probe now will see that third base.
Hey, sometimes it's smart to place that Zergling right in the center, as those Lings usually do check the corners first and sometimes won't get you in the center. And Hasu, I believe, has scouted the gas for or excuse me, Hawk has spotted the gas, the double gas now for Hasu, so he can click on those assimilators and know how much gas is gone for Hasu. Hasu's initial gateway does come up here, so the cybernetics core, I assume, will soon follow, and then he's going to tech up and he's going to have a ton of gas by the time the cybernetics core does finish. And we do finally see, no, we have no gas yet for Hawk, so again, Hawk just focusing on his economy, making a ton of drones to try to saturate these early 3 bases.
Yeah, right now all we've seen Hasu spend his gas on is the level 1 weapons upgrade, opting to go for level 1 weapons upgrade well before he had his cybernetics core. So this is going to be a bit strange, as the Zealots should be able to fend off these Zerglings rather easily and then just sit on that high ground, hoping to make sure that the Zerglings do not run in. You can see Chrono boosting out Zealots at this stage as opposed to Chrono boosting out probes. He wants 2 Zealots to hold off against the swarm of Zerglings, as we are now getting a 3rd Zealot and getting that Warp Gate tech.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about this build. That +1 is going to finish very, very early compared to the cybernetics core and the Warp Gate tech. So he's going to have +1 with a lot of Zealots here, and maybe he'll use 4 or 5 Zealots and send him to that 3rd and try to take it down. Now he is finally placing down double Stargate. Very interesting decision. So he's going to go with +1 Zealot, and Stargate can be a very good build. The Zealot's going to tear through Lings and Queens, and this early, just Queen's going to be anti-air for Zerg.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting, as the Zealots have already gotten in a couple easy hits there. There is an Overlord in the air, but with double Stargates and double Chrono Boost, those Void Rays will be pushing out, and you already see Roaches coming out for Hawk. So Hawk may not be ready for this, especially not against double Stargate. The Zealots are now simply moving straight to the 3rd. Roaches are being trained up over here. The Zealots do have level 1 weapons upgrade already. Gonna try to go after that Queen. There you go, getting in some easy damage already. That Queen being forced to pull back as the numbers are starting to engage. And what is going to be happening as the Zealots are still chasing after units, and now drones are going to start to fall as this 3rd base is under attack.
I think Hasu has to get that Queen. A lot of Roaches are coming out. Basically, these Zealots will go down quickly once the Roaches do find them, and all the Zealots being taken down here, they do not get the Queen. They don't get too many drones there as well. Just 1 drone killed so far, so these double Void Rays going to need some support, as another Zealot caught in midfield there. The 2 Void Rays can try to focus down the Queen, is very low at the 3rd, but more and more Queens, now the creep has been spread a little bit, could easily defend against the Void Rays.
Yeah, Spore Crawlers already being built as you saw the double Queens. The 2 Void Rays already making their way out. 2 more Void Rays coming in. Zealots could be added. There is no proxy pylon that I know of or see. And if there was a proxy pylon, you can have the Void Rays go after the Queens. And, you can have the Void Rays go after the units. And then, what are we going to see here as the Spore Crawler now fighting back, and the Queens not really able to get all too much damage, as the Void Rays are doing some fancy flying and able to back off here. And now perhaps trying to get more damage in on this 3rd base, as Hawk is desperately trying to defend it. He does have a strong drone advantage, but with so many anti-air units or air units in the game right now, he has to be very, very careful, as 2 Void Rays now pushing into the main base as well.
Yeah, 3rd and 4th Void Ray hoping to take down a few Overlords here in the main, also get some scouting information, and he is going to see that the hatchery or lair almost done, just now finishing. So we'll see what sort of counter Hawk goes for here, whether he goes for the Hydras or whether he goes for some sort of Spire Tech. Hasu might lose this Void Ray in the main, gets very, very low. A Queen on the low ground could have picked it off, but Hasu hasn't done too much damage with these Void Rays quite yet, and he really needs to make those pay off in the basically taking down economy or important tech structures.
Yeah, right now you see 6 Void Rays in the air, and that's the entire army of Hasu. So these 6 Void Rays really need to find a target and try to get some harassment in. Unfortunately, all of these creep tumors are linking the 3 bases together, meaning that the Queens can cover each other in a moment's notice. There are 3 Spore Crawlers at the 3rd base. Roaches are now making their way out, as I believe a proxy pylons are being set up, and we should be transitioning perhaps into Stalkers or Zealots, but I would really rather hope for Colossi, as the Hydralisk number coming in from Hawk is just simply alarming.
Yeah, crazy number of Hydras, 15, and that's going to be able to easily take down these Void Rays quite quickly. So Hasu pushing in here with sort of a +1 6-gate timing with all these Void Rays, and he's done a nice job of not losing Void Rays. So if he's able to do some damage to the army here, I just don't think he can take on all these Hydras.
Yeah, right now he is warping in Zealots up on the high ground, and now he has to be careful. The Void Rays are going to get picked as the Zealots are now running into the main base. Perhaps it can take down a Queen as there are no Spine Crawlers in the base at all. The Queen, or the Zealots going straight for the Queen already. If the Queen does get taken down, the Spore Crawlers could be next, as the Queen is already down, and the Zealots now just making a mess inside the base here, taking down drones very, very quickly. You can now see Roaches now trying to make their way over, as the Hydralisks are being very smart and sticking to that main base here, as the Roaches are going to just finish off the Zealots. The Zealots taking down several of those drones, and now the worker count is, what, 59 to 43.
Yeah, and we see Hasu pushing in once again. Hawk had just made a huge round of drones beforehand, so I don't want to say he could almost afford to lose those drones, but he really could. He's still far, far ahead. A lot of force fields going down, and Hasu going to try to push in here and take down all these Hydras, but I just don't think he has the DPS for it. A few more force fields trying to keep those Hydras from retreating, but they are on creep. They're very easily able to retreat. The two armies going to be able to link up here for Hawk, and it gives a nice surround on the Protoss Death Ball, and if he can focus down these Void Rays, I think this is really going to stop the pressure for Hasu, and Hasu's army just melting under all the DPS for these Hydralisks. The Hydras do have +1, and Hawk completely shuts down that attack for Hasu.
Yeah, you can see the Void Rays now trying to make their way up onto the high ground, but the Hydras are going to be able to spot them up there and shoot them down as well. This is not good news. Hasu attempting to run away now, but his options are pretty much limited at this time. Perhaps taking down an Overlord or two at this stage, as the Hydralisks are now able to make their way over. The Hydralisks able to shut down that Void Ray there, and Hasu now down to 44 probes and only 3 sentries.
Yeah, this is really tough for Hasu, and he's just going to GG. Yeah, he was so far behind there. He could have turtled up for several more minutes, but Hawk would have taken the entire map. He was already working on a 4th, and he would have pushed it 200 and just taken down the front door of Hasu. So Hasu's push didn't work there. I felt like parts of it worked, where he sent those Zealots into the mineral line, got some decent harassment, but in the end, sort of clunky a little bit with his timings. He lost those early Zealots and didn't do a lot of damage, and those Zealots have to protect the Void Rays. They sort of work hand in hand. They each have their strengths and weaknesses. The Void Rays take down the Roaches, and the Zealots take down the Queens and Spores, so Hasu really needs to work on the synergy with the Zealots and the Void Rays to make that sort of push work.